So let's take a look at what an amortization reconciliation template looks like and some of its key features. Now in this example here, we're looking at a June reconciliation for my prepaid account. And these were two amortization items that I added back in January. One for my health insurance premium and one for my property insurance premium. And these are both set up to amortize over 12 months, all 12 months of 2023. And what you're seeing here is basically like a summary view of where these items are at as of June. So you can see what the starting and ending amortization dates are right here, what the description is, what the original amount of the invoice is, and what the current amortization balance is for each of those items is right here. Now, if I wanted to see that full traditional waterfall schedule, you can always click on the roll forward link up here. Okay. And this is showing me what my balances are for both items for all the months of 2023. Okay. Now the system also lets me see what the net activity is each month as well. I can just toggle to that by clicking on my activity radio button over here. And now I'm seeing what the net activity is for both items is over each month. This is essentially the journal entry, right, that needs to get made. This is a nice feature because it can help you to create the journal entry in your GL system each month. So what some folks will do is they'll export this to Excel, okay? And so let's say we're in July, right? Here's what my journal entry amount should be. You can see it's $4,000. And for those folks who are importing journal entries through an Excel file into their GL systems, right? Essentially, you have 90% of the information right here. So you have a column with the dollar amount. You can see the description over here for each item, and you can use this to quickly create that journal entry Excel file that needs to get imported into your ERP system. Also note that BlackLine does have a journal entry module that could 100% automate this entry for you. So if you kind of take a step back here and you come back to your amortization schedule, when July comes around, and here's your amounts right here, the system can automatically create a file that has the journal entry details on it and send it over to your GL system to automatically post for you. Okay, so the point is that there is that full 100% automation capability available with that journal entry module. Okay, so let's go back to our actual reconciliation, and let's just see how we can go about adding a new prepaid item if we had to do that. So always a couple of different ways to do it. I'm going to show you the manual way here, just so you can kind of see how everything works behind the scenes. First, you would click on the Add Amortizable Item, and let's say we received an invoice for our dental insurance premium for the next 12 months. We'll use that example. And let's say that invoice amount was $12,000. We enter that into here. And this is where we would put the beginning and ending amortization dates. So what I'm going to do here for my amortization begin date, let's say we get the invoice on the 15th of the month, and we're going to do it over 12 months. So we're going to give it an ending amortization date. We'll just make this the 14th of May, 2024. Okay. Notice you have a calculation method over here. You have a couple of options. If you pick straight line, right, the system's going to, obviously automatically create the straight line schedule for you. And just so you can see what that looks like, I'm going to click on this View Schedule button right here. Okay. And you can see here for each month, it's going to amortize $1,000. So here's your fiscal periods over here, June, July, August, and on. And here's your dollar amounts here of the $1,000. Now, just so you can see what it looks like, we have another calculation method here for partial. Okay, and so what partial is going to do, you can see I purposely did this here. I set the amortization beginning and end date to mid-month, right, the 15th and the 14th. And so what partial is going to do is it's basically for June, the first month, it's going to create a partial calculation for the amortization. Same thing for the last month that's being amortized. It's only going to amortize for 14 days of that month. And just so you can see what that looks like, we'll go back to our schedule. Okay. And so you can see here for that first month in June, you're really only amortizing about half months of amortization. And in the last month, the same thing, you're only amortizing 14 days of amortization. And then the system is figuring out what the remaining amounts are for all the other amounts and straight lining them. Some of the other calculation methods in here, you can see it has a catch up and a partial catch up. So let's say we should have received this invoice back in March, but we're just now receiving it in June. Okay. So in that instance, what we can do is set our amortization start date to March. And again, if it was over 12 months, it should stop amortizing in February of next year. So what the catch-up method will do is it's going to take the March, April's, and May's amortization and push it into June, right? It's going to do that catch-up into June, and then it's going to straight line for all the remaining months. And so we can see that by clicking on the View Schedule. So we can see here for June, we see the catch-up of $4,000. There's 3 months of catch-up into June. And then for all the remaining months, it's straight lined out. And the last calculation method there, partial and catch-up, right? So what that's going to do is that's going to take the 16 days of March plus all of April and May and push that into June as a catch-up. And then it's going to straight line the rest. And then in the last month, in February 2024, it's going to just show 14 days of amortization. So let's see what that looks like. Okay. So here's our 2.5 months of catch up into June. Here's the last 14 days of amortization showing in February 2024. And then all the remaining months here in the middle are straight lines. So just trying to give you a feel of what those different calculation methods do. Now, one other important thing to note here is that you are not locked in to how BlackLine created the schedule for you. You could always make changes or tweak the schedule to however it needs to be. So for example here, if we need to just change a couple of line items, a couple of ways to do it. One way is to click the Edit All button. Okay, and then I'll just make some small changes here. I'll change this number to 60 cents and this monthly depreciation amount to 52 cents. And then click the Update All. Save. Okay, and then if you go back to your schedule, you can see that those changes were updated on it. Okay. Same thing with the future month. So say you set up the schedule today, 4 months down the road, you realize that the remaining months on the schedule need to be changed or updated for any reason. You could absolutely do that. You could always change or update amounts in future months. You just can't change the amounts on a month where a reconciliation has already been certified. All right, and then the last piece here down in description, this is where you can put your invoice description. All right, so that's where we'll put the dental insurance premium, and then we'll save it. Come back to our schedule now, and we can see that summary view of the amortization schedule for my dental insurance premium. Okay, a couple other things to note here. You can't always attach a file, an Excel file, a PDF file to these different prepaid schedules or amortization schedules right here. If I go back into the setup of the schedule, you'll notice on the bottom here, you have the ability to attach a document or a comment. This might be how you want to attach an actual PDF copy of the invoice. That's a good way that a lot of people like to organize their schedules by attaching it there. Okay. And then also note that this is, you also have the opportunity to take advantage of the auto certification rules within the system. And so what I mean by that is that now that your schedule is set up for your items, the system is going to know what your balance should be in the future months. Okay, so for an example here, for July, my schedule says my GL balance should be about $27,000. For August, it should be about $22,000 over here. And when July and August come around, if my GL balance, if your GL balance is actually $27,000 in July or $22,000 in August, the system can recognize that and automatically mark your reconciliation as complete for you. Okay, and so that means you don't need to spend any time on these reconciliations in that future month. So just an important point here because it's a pretty big time saver for a lot of our customers. Okay, so that should give you a pretty good idea on what the amortization template can do and how you can use it.